All right, good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see everybody. Welcome to our new and improved studio. We got kicked out of the other side because they're doing something else later on. My pal who takes care of the room felt a little lazy. I can't see where that's less work than putting up more tables, but each to their own. Anyway, I kind of like this configuration. It's kind of nice. I can see everybody. You're a little bit closer. So this is our last day together for this year. Thank you everyone for coming. It's always good for me to be able to teach what this whole wandering sketchbook idea. You've already got an A. You don't have to sit up straight. But I really like it when I find more people that are willing to go out and have some fun with this because I think it's a lot of fun. Just in case, just in case you're out and about town, you might run across one of these Port Colborne Observer newspapers. Wonderful little newspaper, especially when you turn to page 14 and you see some artist guy has written some articles in here. Whoops. So, there's lots of valuable information in these little newspapers. And if you're from Fort Erie, apparently he writes there too. So who knew? I didn't know. They told me I was. So yeah. Okay. So we've covered a lot of the basics of urban sketching. We're going to talk. We talked about people a little bit last time. We talked about little people. We're going to talk about medium people today. And I have an exercise for you. If you have the handout, flip it over to the side with the people there, and that's going to be our first activity. And then we're going to try to take what we learn and translate it onto the new picture, which is on the other side, our reference on the other side. So that's a picture from Paris along the Seine River. And if you've ever been there, they have all those booths there and they sell magazines and books and everything. And I don't remember taking that picture, but it was in my file, so I must have done something. During COVID, too. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's interesting. We weren't there during COVID. No. Why do you say is it? Well, there's two. There's. Oh no, I'm talking about the one on the other side. No, these ones are not mine. Oh. No, those aren't mine. Yeah, these guys don't have. Those guys, yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm thinking, where did I get that picture from? Wow. Where was I? Oh, you threw me off. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. Hopefully, we have enough time to get through. Listen to me, the Facebook. On Facebook, we have more classes coming up. We've just put a whole bunch of things in for our social media person to help us out with. Fran has some wonderful classes coming up. If you're a bit of an experienced painter, she has an experienced painter class, kind of drop-in day set aside. She also has some one-day workshops coming up. We have Joanne, who is planning to do another crocheted, I think it's a sweater this time, I think is what she said. Possibly. Yeah, I don't remember. But she is working on developing some workshops to do crochet jewelry. Oh, that's right, the jewelry. That's what it was. We don't know yet. And we think, we'll have a how to take pictures with your cell phone class, which I think is pretty valuable, especially for us going out as urban sketchers. We don't get a chance to finish, so we take a quick picture. We can finish it when we get home. And that's our own videographer back there that's going to be helping us out with that one.
For the crochet class, is it a beginner class or you have to know what you're doing?
I don't know for sure. She has done a beginner and then she did a little bit more advanced one. Okay. So we'll have to wait and see what she comes up with, and then she'll tell me whether or not it's beginner. Okay. But I think it is going to be the jewelry one. She does some really cool. It's very small stitches and adds little things to it. It's very cool. You have to know how to do slip stitch and single crochet for the jewelry. If you heard that, then that's what you have to do. I, of course, will be. Oh, hi, Bonnie.
At one time, you were going to do a calligraphy class. Has this been thought?
The calligraphy class has kind of been shelved a little bit for now. I've discovered we need a lot of extra resources, like paper with special lines on it, and we should have pens that we can use, like felt pens as opposed to pens to start with. So we don't have any money right now to buy extra stuff, but it still. I mean, I think we brought it up again in the summer, and I was kind of thinking about it, and I thought, let's find out. And so, yeah, we'll look for it in the new year. Yeah. And I, of course, will be teaching more Wandering Sketchbook and my atelier program, which is the fine arts drawing, which you'll see on the walls in the studio there, probably starting in February. The atelier program is going to be an intermediate this time. So we just got through our. Oh, I forgot to bring the picture. Sandra, of course, was in my class, my lovely and talented wife, and she, I think, did a fabulous job. And we took her her drawing to my friend in Welland at Picture Perfect, and he framed it for us with a nice red mat around it. It looks fantastic. Um,
On your Facebook.
I will put it on Facebook. I finally took a picture of it, but I don't have my phone on me. But you couldn't see it from here anyway. But I'll put it on Facebook. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. I think that's about all the news I have. We are a little bit turned around here, so you can get out behind the curtain, you can get out through the kitchen, you can get out through that door, and you can get out through that door. There's coffee, tea, water in the studio. Help yourself, please. I think that's all the announcements. So let's have a look at what we've got. I did get organized here at some point. Oh, it's over here. Well, let's do this first. Um, just by way of a quick review, and a couple of people have mentioned this to me, that they use this rule of thirds. But remember, it's also on your phones. You can click on, it's an option there. You can get a grid for the rule of thirds, and it will help you while you're in the wild. You know, where are the things and where should they be? So also keep in mind the odds idea, analyze, understand, and then sketch. So that's kind of, for me, that's the most important thing. You got to analyze what you're doing. You got to figure out what the shapes are, what it is. And when you've got that all kind of figured out and you kind of feel good about it, start sketching. And don't worry when you're sketching if it doesn't come out right the first time, because that's going to happen. And well, if you happen to catch the newspaper next time, there's going to be an article in there about that. Um, it's called, the lines that don't fit are called pentamental lines, and they are the shadow lines of the line that you really want, which is fine. Leave them in there. They look pretty cool. But really try to analyze what we're doing. Now,
What does D stand for again? D is
pardon me?
draw.
So A is
Analyze, understand, draw.
draw. Well, I say sketch because we're in the sketchbook class. If you're in
Oh,
the drawing class, it'll be drawing.
oh,
Yeah, we adapt.
I get it.
All right, so now I am over here. Yes, I am. All right, so let's have a look at our references. And we're going to start with the worker. So you remember the last time I talked about using 4 dots. A dot for the shoulders, a dot for the elbows, a dot for the knees, and a dot for the feet. I kind of went through this a couple of times in my head, and I was doing some extra drawing, and it seems to work fairly well. One of the things that some people were having trouble with was adapting this to people sitting. So we're going to try to go over that today as well. But we're going to start with this drawing. Now, you guys have those in your reference package. My suggestion is either you write or draw right on that page, or put your sketchbook beside the picture. So kind of like this. So you have your reference right there, and you can draw right there. Okay? And then you can keep this, and you can, do it a number of times in practice. Oh, did I do that? Sorry. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Got stuff all over my hands. Okay. So we first analyze what we have here. Well, we have a person, and the person is sweeping. Not too terribly interesting, but it's not terrible either. We have the 4 dots. They represent the shoulders, the elbows, the knees, and the feet. We leave the head out because we're going to give some extra space up there. We're just going to stick it in. So I'm going to start by putting my 4 dots down.
Are we using the whole page for that?
You can use part of a page. Yeah. I'm just doing it big so you can see what I'm doing. But yeah, I mean, even if you want to just do it on the, turn the book the other way, it might be big enough. Turn it the landscape way.
So we don't need a graph.
No,
Okay.
no. Sorry, yeah, we don't.
Oh,
We don't need the rule of thirds for this one. I was just reminding us about that.
We're gonna leave that. For
Yeah,
this.
we need that for the other side.
And then we can put our people on here.
Yes, yeah. Sorry about
Should
that.
we putting the 4s in the middle of the page? Is that it, or on the
You
side?
know what? This is just a study. So put it on the page that feels comfortable to you. So if you want to make it bigger, make it bigger. If you want to keep it the same size, keep it the same size or smaller. These are meant to be medium-sized people. So, I mean, in my my head, my nomenclature here, we have little tiny people that we talked about last time. We have medium people, which are going to have a little bit of detail and a little more detail around their clothing and that kind of stuff. And then we have big people that we actually put a face on and maybe, make sure I don't know, if they're wearing a tie, the tie looks right, or the buttons are right. That's a lot more detail for the big people because they're bigger. We can see them. These are kind of medium people. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to start with the head. And the reason I'm going to start with the head is because it's kind of bent over his shoulders a little bit. And I don't want to forget that. So I know that his shoulders are here. I'm going to put his head kind of down a little bit so that it's over his shoulders. See how it comes down? And his shoulders start a little bit up here and come down to that dot. He's kind of got his shoulders up and he's kind of hunched a little bit. So we've got some lines on either side for that. It comes down to here, the next dot, which is his elbow. So we're going to come down and put an elbow in there. Now I want you to keep in mind, these are not the exact lines. This is getting us on the page. This is the big idea. This is going to come down. There's an elbow here too. I'm just going to put a little mark there because his elbow is in there. His coat comes down a little bit further. And then his legs come down. Now his legs are going to be tubes. They're going to start wide at the top and come narrow at the bottom. So wide at the top, narrow at the bottom. Big ideas first, then we get smaller and a little more detailed. I'm going to put his shoe on here because I like to do these shoes as kind of an upside down D. And that's really all that one needs to be. This one over here is facing this way. So we kind of put a little bump there, give him a little heel. I will tell you that, yes, it's important that you put the shoes in, but nobody ever looks at the shoes. Unless you happen to be out, for dinner or something, and then everybody's checking out everything you're wearing. If we're doing a sketch, nobody looks at the shoes. All right, so I'm looking now. I've got the big idea on my page. He started. Let me go back to the top. He's wearing a hat. And hats are a little bit difficult, so take your time with it. But it really kind of goes over top of his face, kind of like that. So it's just the top, kind of almost a 3/4 circle. And then this comes down as an upside down D, the brim. And I know mine's a little wonky there. And you might even want to put in some of these lines here and put the dot there. So we've got them on the page. Now, these shoulders that I put in here are way too big. This guy is not that muscular. So we want these to come in just a little bit more. And then this arm is starting right in here. And it's a tube. The top is a tube. The bottom, whoops, it needs to go over this way, is a tube. So where's my trusty chamois? I have some new chamois. Somebody found them for me. They were in the studio, hidden away. I had somebody come and clean the studio. It was amazing when I got here. Just amazing. Okay. Now this side over here is way too big because he's not standing face on. He's standing a little bit sideways. He's giving us a little bit of a 3/4. So this shoulder really, in reality, is coming down like this. And we can't see the arm, so this is really just the coat coming down. And the arm, we have our hand, oh, we got to talk about hands. Remember that hands are kind of diamonds, so they go out, come in, and then there's a flat part at the top. So this is the wrist. And you can put a thumb on depending on what we're doing. And then, of course, we just put some lines in there, 3 lines. We get our 4 fingers. We're not going to do anything spectacular for hands because, again, people don't really see them. We now have we don't have this other arm yet. Don't worry about it. We'll find it. We have kind of everything else in place. I'm saying that the broom is another smaller detail. But it's going to start right about here and come down over top of this boot. So it's going to come kind of like this. And I'm going to leave a little space here and a little space there. And then, whoops, that really got wide. So that's my broom handle. And now my hands. So this hand, remember I said it's kind of a diamond shape. And this hand is a bigger diamond because we can see almost all of it. Now it's going behind, so we're going to put our fingers this way. When we get down here, right about where the knees are.
In front of the hand.
Pardon me?
You can't see the hand.
You want me to make it bigger? How's this?
That's better.
Much better.
The broom starts about his knee and goes down a little bit. Now you notice it's just a bunch of lines there that are horizontal. And then the broom just comes out, and we're going to just put some lines in to make it come out. Those are the medium details. And now there's fine details if you want to add them. So for example, he's got an ear here, and he's got a mask. So we're going to make that our mask. He's also got a collar, and it comes down the front of his coat with some buttons and his reflecting stripes. And some more reflecting stripes down here. And that's pretty much all we're going to put in for this guy. We're not going to worry about a face. We're not going to worry about anything extra. Oh, it looks like he's got a, sorry. Oh, I did put a line there. And you can put in squiggly lines for the clothes. These ones are pretty straight here, but there's, some squiggles in there. The only other thing that I would add at the end is a little bit of a shadow to show that he's standing somewhere. The one thing that a lot of people forget is that your people have to be grounded. They have to be on the ground. If you don't put the ground there, they're kind of floating a little bit, and it looks a little bit weird. Yes?
Can you do me a favor, and maybe the rest as well? Can you draw a really big hand both ways?
Yep.
I'm just not getting the shape. That looks like a statue. Yeah, I bet. I like that. I can't get him to touch the broom. Yeah, my hand's floating by itself. Yeah, I can't get him to touch the broom either.
With this hand?
No, the other one.
Well, just lengthen the arm a little bit.
He's pretty long.
Yeah, because when it becomes really long.
Mine's disembodied.
And try to remember. Oh, he didn't put his other arm in. You're right. You know what? This is a little bit too far out. Yeah, his arm is just kind of hanging there, right? And really, it's just kind of like that and goes back in. And we're not really going to see that until we put some color. We're not going to understand that's what it is. And so for the 1 foot, I said I did a D and then kind of go back in. And then this foot, just kind of like that. And I can't even tell. I guess there's laces on there. You can put the laces in.
I have a disembodied hand in a spatula, so I don't know.
Step is we're going to put a little color on him, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to put that aside for right now. And remember, the problem that we have drawing people, first of all, is not that we're worried about proportions. The people won't stay still. If you're out in the wild and you're trying to sketch people, they won't stay still. So you're working on your memory of those people. Or if you're lucky enough to have them stop for a couple of steps, you can get a few lines down in and then fill in the rest after. But you need to have the basics of proportion to make it feel right on the page so that it's not too big. The head's not too big or too small. The arms don't look like they're spaghetti, that kind of thing. What are you doing?
That's hard to handle.
It's way too little.
Transformer.
Make sure you get the wheels in there. Because a lot of the time, people, well, like our first example, the guy was wearing a coat and it was covering his hips. So you weren't quite exactly sure where his hips were. It could be a little higher, could be a little lower. You can always kind of see where people's knees and feet are, and you can see their shoulders. And, their arms aren't that long that, you can't figure out their elbows. So it's just, but again, it's going to take practice. And this is only one idea. There are lots of ideas about how you draw people. I try to, when I'm out in the wild, to use the simplest idea. There's a very famous artist by the name of Andrew Loomis who kind of pioneered the whole teaching, drawing, sketching thing. And his idea was that there are 8 heads in each person. Okay, there are. If you're like an 8-head person like me, you might be a little bit shorter. Not quite all 8 heads would fit. I mean, so we got to, maybe you're only 5 and I'm 8. He doesn't really make allowance for that, and sometimes it confuses people. So I'm trying to find a really simple mannequin nomenclature that we can use on the fly. Because again, we're not sitting in a studio. We're not sitting looking at a model or a reference and taking our time to do this. We're out in the wild. There's wild stuff going on out there. There's people running across, somebody's catching a bus, the market guy's yelling at you because you're in the way. So we're trying to do it relatively quickly and get down the idea that we want to get down. So let's take a look at this guy, and this is probably more likely the kind of person that we're going to see, because they don't normally stand and look at you. They're walking away from you. And most of the people that I put in my sketches are walking either towards a building or walking, to the right or to the left of the building. They're not walking towards me. I don't know why. Maybe I look funny. I don't know. But most of the people that we draw are walking away from us. So let's analyze this particular guy. So he's got shoulders. Now, I purposely didn't put them in. He's got shoulders. He's got elbows. We can see the crease there. There's his knee. And there's the feet.
It's not an exact, like the dots are.
They're not exact.
Yeah, so we have to keep.
Yeah, so we kind of have to adjust a little bit. Now I can see what you're saying. This one here, it probably could come down a little bit because the arc is like that. So it's really maybe down here. It's the arc of the belly button. Your elbows go on an arc through your belly button up to your other elbow. It's kind of a.
We're not putting the dots on the picture. We're putting them on our.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm putting them on the picture
Yeah.
to just to confuse you a little bit more. It's not enough that you made it out today this cold day. You need to be confused as well. That's how I look at it. Okay. So we have our 4 dots. I like to start at the head. Gives me a place to start. So I'm going to just put in kind of an oval for his head. Just something like that. Now actually that actually kind of looks like a head. I hadn't planned on that. It's got a flat spot on it. But just make it an oval. We then have our dot. our dot, our dot, and our dot. So we're analyzing that. We're looking at the shoulders. He's kind of turned a little bit, but not so much that he's not square on us. He's kind of 3/4, maybe even 7/8 turned. We're not going to put anything in for the neck. We're going to skip the neck. But we're going to put in a shoulder and another shoulder. Just the lines. It's going to come down here, and he's going to have an elbow. Now, whoops, the elbow doesn't go that way, but it pops out. That's the elbow. That's the spot. And then halfway, or a little less than halfway, that's the end of his shirt. We're constantly comparing and contrasting what we see with what's in our reference, or in this case, what we see in the wild. So when people walk, they put weight on one leg or the other. If they're standing still, they probably have the weight on both legs. But if they're walking, one leg has the most weight, and the other leg is kind of in the process of moving forward. So this guy has his weight on this leg. Now, normally, you will see the foot that has the weight right under your chin in most people. You can't see that because he's facing away from us, but his weight is really below his chin there. That doesn't really matter. That's just something for the future. So we're going to put this leg in first, and remember, it's a tube that comes down. We can put his whole leg in because it's straight and it's holding the weight of the body. The next foot is the one that's from behind, and it's coming forward. So it gets to have a shorter tube down to the knee, and then a longer piece, keep forgetting, there we go, to kind of come back a little bit. Now that's really messy. Let me do that again. Got a lot of extra lines there. Oh, that cleared it up. There we go. So when we're drawing that bent leg, it's drawn in two pieces. And we have our dot there to remind us that's where the knee is, that's where the bend is. Okay? I'm going to go back up to the shirt. Forget about the collar for a minute. Oops, let's turn this around. So this is going to come down and go in a little bit because that's his shirt. And his shirt is kind of a little wrinkly here until it gets to the bottom. And this arm, we know that's the elbow. It just goes back. We don't see the hand. We don't even see the other side. I mean, I suppose there's a tiny bit in there, but we're not going to worry about that. The shirt's a little wrinkled. We're going to come over to this side, and we have the shirt again, and then it goes down to the hem. Now this arm is kind of swinging, right? It's in two pieces. It's going to come down as a tube to where we put our dot, and then another tube to go forward a little bit. And then we're going to put our hand. Yep.
I have a question.
Of course.
We have
dissected into tubes and whatever. He's moved to Welland
to do
now.
to do the analyzing. He's not only moved to Welland, he got on the bus and went to Welland. Yeah.
That's what I mean. So we're gonna have to.
So what we're doing is
we
we're
have to practice
practicing.
this system
Yeah, we're practicing the system so that we get it ingrained in our head.
so we can just go.
So we just go line, 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 tube. Okay, now I can fill in the rest. And that's where you're going to rely on your memory. Good question, though. You're right. I mean, who has time? These people are wandering every which way. We don't really see the foot on this side, but we do here. Now, in my particular case, I see the foot there because that's the kind of guy I am. I like to see 2 feet. So I'm just going to put the heel in there. Now, right now, this looks pretty rigid, pretty, a lot of straight lines. So that's where we start to kind of massage it a little bit. So we do see that this shirt comes up and goes around, and the neck comes down into the shirt. Now we've made that a little high, or I have, I don't know whether you did, but it's okay now to put a little bit more of a neck in there if you made it too high. You can erase the head and move it down a little bit. You can add a little bit of a neck. We just happen to catch this guy in this position. So that, the next second he might be, see his whole neck. Let's put a little hair on this guy. And we're not going to put a whole lot of information here. And I'm serious about that. The more information you put in there, the more chance of making a mistake and making it look kind of goofy you have. Kind of like that.
You don't want his nose because it shows.
You don't really want his nose. You can put it in if you want and see what happens. Noses are the thing that just catches everybody. What's that thing stuck on there? Oh, it's his nose. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Can you sketch it like the way you would? You look at that picture. Can we see you sketch it?
Can I say it again?
Sketch that guy.
Can I sketch that guy?
Yeah, your speed, what you would do. You would look at it.
Can I make it look like him? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I would like you to sketch it like you would. When you look at that picture.
I want you to do it now.
Yes.
Oh, can I do it now?
Yes.
No.
Why not? Why not? Because he's teaching us.
I don't have time to do it now.
Well, because it only takes a few minutes.
It-
You have to do it when the guy is moving.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When we're sketching in the wild, we're not interested in what the person looks like. That's the last thing we're interested in. We're looking at getting the feeling and the motion. And if you have time, absolutely go back and you can, if you have a reference, go back and sketch the person.
But otherwise, just leave the face. Actually, I saw something a while ago. Somebody who sketches in scenes with a lot of people that you think there's a lot of people, but when you really look at it, you don't see a single person. But it looks like there's.
It looks like it,
most of
yeah.
the people, and they don't look like people.
Yeah,
So
so
that's basically what you want. You want more the idea.
that's exactly what we're getting to. We're getting the idea of what this is. So yeah, you know what? If I could probably spend another 5 or 7 minutes sketching this and have it look like this guy. Yeah, and yeah, to the bigger people, we are going to talk about putting the eyes in the right spot in the middle of the head and the thirds all the way down. But we're not doing this in these guys. I just noticed that this poor guy has put on a lot of weight. So for the arms, now that we have the tubes in place, we can kind of round those arms and come down to the hands, and it makes it look a little bit more like, it probably should. Weird looking guy, isn't he? I bet his mother says that too. Sharp edges will help to make it look more like a person. And try not to worry too much that it doesn't look exactly like what you were looking at. That's not what you're going for. I'm just going to get charcoal all over the place now. What we're really going for is there's a person there. And unless it's somebody you know, nobody's going to say, hey, wait a minute, that's my Uncle Bob. Because it's probably not going to be their Uncle Bob. Confused yet? Yeah? Yes, Nancy? Oh, nice. See? Yeah.
Wow. Mine look like sumo.
That looks good. Let me see yours. We're gonna do one more and then take a little break. I'm just going to put this over top of this one so I can use the rest of this page here. So this is, and I think probably as you look at this next one, you're gonna get the idea that I'm saying here. About the 4 dots. We kind of have the dots arranged in a similar way that we had the dots arranged when the person was standing. We have the shoulders, we have the elbows. This third one, that's the knee. But the knee is over here.
Yeah.
Right?
So we put our dots on the right?
Yeah. And then the feet at the bottom. So this is probably going to be a little bit narrower because the person is sitting. Now this guy's sitting fairly tall, so we can kind of see where everything is. So once again, let me get a different piece of chart. Once again, we have 3 dots. I'm going to put them on this side this time. Or sorry, 4 dots. I like to start with the head. And it doesn't have to look like a head, it just has to be kind of a circle. And I've actually drawn him a little bit too low. Now, because he's now sitting 90 degrees to us, he's not flat on, he's 90 degrees, the shoulder is really just this. We don't see the other shoulder. This arm comes down. I'm going to break with a little tradition here. And that's, whoops, a little too long, but that's where the elbow is. The back comes down to where the knees are. So look over. We're not looking for the knee that he's got in his hands. We're looking for the knee that's down here. So these tubes come from here and go out and then go down. This one is coming out to the other knee.
take these pictures?
No. Mr. Google took these ones. Just by way of an extra little art thing, this is when we talk about gesture poses, when you're doing gesture, this is what they're talking about. They're just talking about lines that define kind of the shape where the thing is. That's what a gesture is. A gesture is not lots of details. It's a quick line for the back, it's a quick line for the leg, and gets you on the page. Then we refine it. So the refining part is putting the tubes in. The gesture would be this line coming down to where he's sitting, and maybe this line that comes up and goes into his hand. Those are all gesture lines. It's not complicated, Annette. You can do it. I heard you. I heard you. You of all people, come on.
I'm certain I can.
You have so got it already. Never mind. So, oh goodness, you're right. Thank you.
Well, I was asking.
No, you're absolutely right. It's kind of dark up here. Yeah. So this is actually not here. It's actually going this way. And this one is behind. Sorry about that. Yeah, if he's sitting this way, it's his left leg going over top of his right leg, as opposed to just raising up. It looked to me like he was raising up his other leg, but I didn't have the right perspective on that. Yeah, thank you. His other arm is coming down and going out. I'm going to make this knee go up a little bit higher. I'll remove a little bit of that pentimento out of the way to help you see what we've got going on here. So this is the leg that's coming forward. This leg is going to be sitting on this one. What's that?
Look, I got spaghetti man arms. Look, I got too many limbs.
So then remember we have our hands coming in.
Oh, I get that all wrong.
So remember, we're going to do the hands on the side this time. The thumbs are on top, by the way. Try this. This is a good thing to stick in the back of your mind. Your thumbs always point towards you, unless you're standing really weird. Nobody stands like this unless you're in a medical anatomy book. I mean, the guy. Well, he's got a funny twist on his hand, but most of the time your thumbs point to you, so that, or they point up. Your thumbs don't normally point down unless you're doing this, which is very awkward. So for my thinking now, what I have there is kind of the gesture, the outline, the medium details. What I need to add in there now are some of the details. We don't want to put a whole bunch of stuff in there. If I go back to the head, I would put his hair in. I would put his glasses in. And I would put his mask on. And that's really all I would want to do with that. I don't want to put a lot of detail in there. Now, you guys can do much more detail than I can with this big piece of charcoal. So yours is going to look a lot neater. The back of his neck meets his collar, which kind of comes out, and the front of his neck just goes in. Now, all of these sharp angles that we've made now become soft angles. We're going to take that line out. And again, shoes are really just kind of sort of sideways D's, depending on what kind of shoes you're wearing, I guess. And don't forget, which I forgot the last time, we got to ground him on something. And he actually has a bench that he's sitting on, so that's kind of handy. You can't really see it. So I just put a bunch of squiggly lines in there to represent the, yeah. The figures that we're going to be adding into our reference, from our reference, I mean, are meant to be medium sized. So see how big they are on the reference. Think about how that's going to translate into your sketchbook. And you'll see they're about twice the size of the small ones that we did last time. But they're certainly not the whole page. So we're practicing the whole page so that we can get things in the proper place at the proper proportion. But they're going to be a fair bit smaller when they're in your sketchbook. So again, don't stress over facial features. There's not a lot there. Don't stress over, you know, does the arm go exactly where it goes in the reference? If it's close because we're thinking these are people that are moving. They probably moved by the time you got to the arm or to the hand, and you're just kind of trying to play a little bit of catch up. If you would like, throw a little color on there. It'll pop off the page. However, I would much prefer that you stand up, walk around, loosen up a little bit. If you're comfortable, leave your work out for people to look at. If not, that's okay. Close your book. We'll get started on the other one in about 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Our next reference, and we're probably going to go fairly quickly on this one. No? You want me to go slow? So, first of all, this is the reference picture that I started with. Now, I don't know if you can see that. I didn't make it huge because it would take up the whole thing. But compare that to the reference that you have in front of you. So this is the whole picture that I took. We have this much of that picture. Now, I said this the last time. I try to, when I give you references, I try to line up the things that I think will make the rule of thirds work. I do that when I'm out as well. I try to make sure I take the verticals that are there and use them for the verticals in the rule of thirds. Now, I don't have a grid or something that I hold up in front of what I'm going to draw that has the rule of thirds on it. I have to do it in my head. But after you've done it a little bit, you realize that if there's a line here on the building, well, I'm just going to keep that in mind. And then go over kind of a proportionate amount, and that's where the other line is going to be. For the horizontal lines, in this picture in particular, I wanted to emphasize the eye line. So when you're drawing people in pictures, normally what happens is the eyes, the head, are all on the same plane. So we're done with this one, right? Oh yeah, here it is. I thought I'd do it sideways so that it would really be confusing. Is that? Oops, what did I do here? Oh, it's attached. There we go. Okay. So normally, the eye line across the whatever reference it is, or even out in the wild, stays the same. So you can see now this guy is probably just pretty tall, so he's a little bit above all of these folks. But this headline you can see is going through all the people, and if I'd left the big reference up there, it went through all of them. I chose that as one of my rule of thirds lines, even though this bottom part's a little bit bigger, because I wanted to get something to make sure I got the heads and the eyes in the right places. Notice the feet. The people that are closest to us, closer to the road, their feet are here. These people are back in the picture, and look where their feet are. They're back. Closer to us, back, they've gone back in the picture. So when we're thinking of how do we get people in a picture and make them look like, they're not all standing on a line looking at you, that's one of the ways to do it. I also chose this line up here just because that's a line there. What the heck, let's just use that line, it's already there. All right, so, whoops. Hopefully I don't knock anything over. This new studio is very confusing. It's just. Yes.
So with the people, there's the ones that are back there and the ones that are here.
Yep.
So can you repeat how you do that again?
How do you do it?
Yeah.
So I watch the heads.
Okay.
So if you see the red line,
Yeah.
goes through all their heads.
Yeah.
So that's the way it really is in life.
Yeah.
If you're standing there taking a picture, the lines will go through everybody's head.
Okay.
Except for the really tall guy.
Yeah.
And then as people are in the picture more, they become shorter. So
okay, so these guys are becoming shorter.
Yeah. They're not really shorter. They just look like they're shorter because they're further in the picture. So if we were to draw the perspective lines, the perspective lines would go in. And so these guys would be further down the line of perspective.
Okay, that's what it was.
I mean, that's a little bit difficult to understand because there's the horizon line and the vanishing points. And you know how they come in when we do a house? It's the same thing for people.
Photography.
Yeah, I know, it's very confusing. Pardon me?
Depth of field.
Depth of field, yeah, another way of saying it, yeah.
Okay.
Just for now, take my word for it. You know, I make up all kinds of stuff you guys don't know. So,
We just blame you.
all right, so remember we start by redefining our page so that we have room in case we need it. So I'm going to draw my line, and I'm not going to be too worried that it's not terribly straight. I just want to make sure I leave myself enough space in case I need it. Yeah.
Part of your drawing is being
Behind this.
by that,
Yeah, I kind of thought that would be a problem for us today. There. Is that better? Sorry about that. Okay. So there we go. We have our rule of thirds, and the verticals are pretty evenly spaced. So we're going to try to get those in, and I'm just going to stand in front here for a second and kind of estimate where they are and put them in. Kind of like that. I may be a little bit off. And then the horizontals, the bottom one I'm going to put up just a little bit because we need a little bit more room there for the people. And then just divide this one in half up top here, like so. So remember, even though it's called a rule, you're allowed to break the rules. Now that you understand what it is, just do whatever you want with it. Okay. The line down here is the line of the heads. A little bit above that line, oh, I gotta come over here. You see the roof of this little booth. So, by the way, have people been in Paris? Does this look familiar to you? Yeah. So this is along the river, and this is the roof of it kind of opens up like a market stall. So that's what that is. So it's kind of on a hinge and it comes up. And then that's the other side that you can see there. There's a wall behind these guys. We're going to pretend that this is a wall up here, just for the sake of this drawing. So this roof comes out a little bit up. So I'm going to say about that much, and goes a little bit over, like about that. And I'm going to put that line in first. I want to make sure that I got something on the page that kind of tells me where I am. Now, a little bit down from that, that's really the other side of the river, but we're going to pretend that it's a fence. Okay, just to make our drawing a little bit easier. So it comes down a little bit. It's almost down to here, and then it goes all the way over, like about there. So we'll just put a line like that. We don't want to get too complicated today. I think, I've made it pretty complicated with the people thing. So, we should relax a little bit for the last bit. All right. That kind of situates us on the page. We know that this line that we put in, that's where the people's heads are going to be. These lines above are going to be for the building. We're going to be very general with the building because we're more concerned with the people. But let's put those in. So if we look here, there's a line coming down the corner of that building, but also the line that we put in is right on the corner of that building. So if I draw a line here down to my roof and then join these two together and come down, I've got this part in here. Does that make sense? Do you see that?
When you're referring to the reference, could you put that out of the way and then stand to the side more? Because whenever you point onto the reference, you can't see it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I get you. It's a very awkward space for me. I'm not really. Is that better? Can everybody see that?
Actually, Chris, can you use the big one? Like, we can't see that small. You're pointing to that. We can't see what you're doing.
You want me? You mean you want me to come over here and point to here?
Oh, yeah, let's stand at the side.
All right. And you don't want me to stand in front of it? Oh, what is going on today? Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. We're a very demanding group today. I just just because it's the last day doesn't mean you get to run over me here. Okay, let me go back then. This line is the corner of the building, the third that we put in. Just coming over a little bit, that's where this other corner of the building is. And then the other line of thirds here is the bottom of the roof. Oh, that goes over there. So the bottom of this roof.
You don't have that line in there yet, right?
Well, that line should be in there. That's this line.
Okay.
We already put that in. That's our rule of thirds line. And that's why we did that, because we want this line to be that big line at the top where the roof comes down. Hmm?
Yes, I did. Never mind.
Okay. This is the top of that building right here. This line here. We haven't touched the roof part yet. If we come over here, excuse me, about halfway down, maybe a little bit further, there's a little roof. And then a little less than halfway, there's that other roof that goes all the way across. So a little bit down, about halfway, it goes over, and a little less, sorry, a little more. No, it's a little less than halfway. This one, and I'm going to have to stand in front for this, goes all the way over and comes down.
It helps put little dots, doesn't it? You still can use them whenever you want.
Whenever you want.
They do help.
Yeah, it's actually a really good idea for longer lines to put a dot so that you have something to aim for. Yeah, good point. I should be doing that, but you guys are professionals now. I don't want to tax you. So this line that we put in here is our little roof. I'm going to double it up so I know what it is. A little bit up from that is another line that goes all the way across, which is almost in the middle. And it goes all the way over here. So almost in the middle between those two lines, this line and this line, right about the middle here, it goes all the way across. Well, this went too far. Okay. We're going to take a little breath here. We've got big ideas on the page. We don't have any people on the page yet. We just have the buildings in the background, and we've got our foreground. I'm going to suggest that we do a little bit of work on the buildings to make us feel like they're in the right spot, and then we work on the front. So I'm going to come right here to the corner of the building, right here, and this line goes on an angle down. So that tells us the perspective is down over here somewhere. Down, it would meet this horizon line, which is the eye line, over here somewhere. So we're going to just put this at an angle, like so. I'm going to be very sketchy about the top part here. I'm going to use the top line that I put in as the top of my drawing or my sketch. And then I'm just going to put in a couple of these chimneys. And I'm not really going to worry too much if they're in the right spot because they're not really the important thing. Whoops, I went too far there. Don't forget now that everything that's on this side is on a bit of an angle. So when we put in the windows have to go on a bit of an angle on the side. Above this line, which is our roof line, over on this side over here. So above this line, we've got 3 windows with 3 lintels underneath them, 3 bottom parts of the window. So if I come back here, I'm going to kind of give myself 3 even spaces there, and they're circular, so half and half should get us approximately in the middle. And then these bottom lintels are quite heavy, so you can put like a heavier line in there. The same thing below that. We have rectangular windows. These are going to be a little bit smaller. With a heavier lintel, but it's also got that triangle thing on the top. Now I haven't put the details in of the window panes yet. I'm going to kind of leave them for a bit. I'm going to take this line out because it might be a little confusing. Get it out of the way there so you can see that. This is a heavy line to the edge of the building. And then this is where the eaves trough kind of comes along the building. So we can kind of double that a little bit if we want, give it a little heft. We want it to be just back just a tiny bit from the line that's on the building. It should be up a little bit. And if we do that, it'll make it go back in so that it's not a continuous line. There's a break there. We have the front building and then the roof is back a little bit. And then the same thing here. A fairly heavy bit of architecture there. And then this line is back just a tiny bit as well. So it should be up a bit. So a couple of interesting design features are these little, I thought they were chimneys at first, but they're not. They're all these little things here. They're, what do you call those? What?
Roof fence?
Not skylights, when they come out from your, no, there's a name, I don't know, I forget. Gosh.
No.
Anyway, so we got 2 over here, kind of come in here, and we got 1 near here, and one about here. So those are just essentially rectangles. And they come back and come on an angle. Oh, come on, you guys know what these are called? They're like a window on the roof. Dormer!
They're chimneys. They're not.
You sure?
I can see the blue is.
Oh, you know what? I guess they are. I originally thought they were chimneys, but then I changed my mind. But now I see that. Yeah, there's one in the back. Yeah, this one I knew was a chimney. I thought for some reason those were windows. But anyway, they're chimneys.
Whatever they are, draw them.
Draw them in there. Give it a little thing on top there to sit everything on. Another chimney over here. Now you can go through and put the windows that are here and the windows that are here. And at some point we probably will before we finish here. But I want to get to the people.
Can you show me again how you made it look like with the little back piece of the chimney on? What do you do?
So what I did was I put a rectangle. I put a rectangle in front, and then I had this line go back to the roof, and this line be the front of the roof. Okay? And so we can now make this a little bit thicker to be the rest of the chimney. Did that help?
What I do wrong here.
Lots of windows in here that we can put in, and lots of windows here. But let's go to the front. So we have two people here. Whoops. Let me come to the large picture. We have two people here and two people here. So I got to start with the ones that are back a little bit. So their eye line is this line. This line that we've got right here. Let me make an eye on that. There we go. That's their eye line. Goes right through the middle of their heads. So if their heads are here, and they're actually our rule of thirds line goes right between them. So we got one on one side and one on the other. So we know exactly where we're going to put them. And we know that this bottom bit is a little bit wider. So we're going to come up a little bit to find their feet placement. So I'm going to suggest we come up about a quarter of the way. And just put a mark in there to help us remember that's where we want to put their feet. Okay? Our 4 dots. And they're pretty consistent. Across both those people. So if I put my 4 dots in there, I think I'm kind of, almost right there. Now I'm going to start with the first head, and her head is kind of over a little bit. And it's kind of like right there. And it kind of goes into her shoulders because she's got that fuzzy thing on her coat. the back, and there's a shoulder here. Now she's got a big coat on, so it's going to come down at least to the middle. So I'm just going to make that outline of the coat. And then she's got her tubes for her legs. Her legs are fairly straight there. It's hard to tell if she's yeah, she's got the weight on her outside leg, and her inside leg is bent a little bit, but it's very difficult to see. So we're going to pretend they're both straight. Her buddy there, his head is here as well. We've left a space. We're going to put in his shoulders, his elbow, right about there, and his coat finishes about the same spot. Now keep in mind, his legs are both straight, but one goes this way and the other one is behind it. Big idea picture there. Just the gesture. Where is it? And really just the gesture, because we don't see a lot of hands. We don't see a lot of other details. The best detail I see is this big bag, which kind of takes up her whole back here. And goes over her shoulder. These people over here, on the other hand, are quite a bit bigger. His head is up here. Her head is right on the line. Let's get our dots. Her dots are going to be a little bit different because she's shorter. His are up a little bit higher, which obviously he's higher. But their feet both finish in the same spot. So let's do her first. Shoulders. This is really good because we can really see her elbows. The bottom of her coat. Her legs come down. Actually, we'll put 2 lines there. Put her knees in. Her feet are really just kind of like, not quite rectangles, but like squares, because we just see her heels. Jumbo over here, got a shoulder. His elbow is right here, and it comes down, it comes out. His back, almost down to his feet. Whoops, his feet and legs got to come down a little bit. And now that we're here, we're going to put the shoes on. Put the shoes on these guys. And then one of the things that's going to help us is this wall is right here where they are. That's going to help us ground them in the picture.
What was that again? That wall that's going to ground them.
So the wall at the bottom here is back further. So if we put that wall across where they are standing, that will help to ground them there. Now it's really a question of adding some details. And I'm going to suggest we put some of these posters in that they have here. And you can, when you're putting in color, just put color in there. But make sure you pay attention. For example, this one on the bottom is very close to where their feet are, but it's back just a little bit. So that again puts it back, figure ground idea. And then there's a whole bunch of, I don't know what those are. I guess those are little prints. So you can put some rectangles in there to fill in that space. And there's more things over here that we can add in. You know, there's another big print here. Something hanging here. So I haven't put all of the details in. There's a lot of stuff here. This is another booth over here beside where they're standing. And there's some more posters on there. I'm going to leave a lot of the details for you to do. We have, I would say right now, the medium picture. We have things on the page. We can differentiate the top part, which is the building, from the foreground here, which is along the edge of the river. Sure, we should add some more of these windows up here to finish off our building. We should add some color in these posters when we get to that point. The last thing you might want to do is put some trees in. Yes, you have your hand up, Linda?
I don't see the arms. The 4 people, and I'm not sure.
There really are. So these people don't really have arms. I mean, you can kind of see them, but yeah, you know what? Don't stress over it. These guys, you can kind of see this arm, and you see these two going out. So you see these two here, and this guy's arm is right here. She's got a big bag here that's covering this one. And then she's got her collar there.
We just see the backs of their heads, so do we just color hair? Like, just make hair.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, you could just outline that shape if you want and put some color in it later. So this guy's hood is in here. He's got his glasses on. This is all just hair over here. And I would be very careful about putting anything here. Maybe just a couple of lines for a mouth, maybe a nose and a couple of eyes. Don't get too detailed. But then add in his bag over there too. He's got a bag. He's got a thing around his neck. Opportunity to take it to the next step and add the details that you want to add without me pushing you and making you go really, really fast. As artists, all of us, when we're out in the wild and we're trying to get all this stuff together, it is kind of fast paced and it is kind of, I don't think I'm going to get it all. And that's what it's about. And as you get better and better, you'll be able to do this quicker and quicker, and your drawings will come out nicer. But you must have some questions. And don't be afraid, because if you have a question, probably 8 other people have the same question. I do hope I'll see you all next year. Yes, Jean?
You said something one time about the windows being on an angle.
Oh, I did. On the side. On the
Those ones.
with the angle.
The ones back here.
Yes.
Oh, okay. But
So
the straight on ones aren't.
the straight on ones are kind of facing us, but the ones on the side, remember, they're on a bit of an angle. So don't make them straight across. The first one's higher, the next one's a little bit lower, the next one's a little bit lower. Keep that proportion going.
On one.
So to be really brutally honest, I don't spend more than 5 minutes with a sketch.
And do you do that, the sketch that you do on location, and then you do more work when you get home, or no?
Yes.
Oh.
So I will, because I'm traveling with a very beautiful and talented wife who doesn't like to sit for hours and hours while I do something that I'm not paying attention to her, which rightly so. I think that's how it should be. So I quickly get the impression of where I am and what I'm doing. Then when I go back at the end of the day, or if I have another opportunity, I'll fill in the parts and maybe I'll put the color on at that point. Maybe I've put on a couple of dashes of color to remind me what things look like before I move on. But yeah, I really don't spend more than 5. Well, ask Sandra's right there. 5 minutes, Sandra?
Depends on if I have a drink in front of me or not, or how long it takes me to say. Does he ever have to wait for you somewhere, or does he always have a sketchbook? Yeah.
That's your goal, to do it for 5 minutes. But really, I mean, if you have only a short period of time, you should kind of try to train yourself so you can get all the information that you want as quickly as you can. And again, take a picture. You know what? You get what you want on the page. You think you're going to like this. Take a quick picture. You can go back into when you're at the hotel, or when you're at home, or when you're sitting at the coffee shop, and go back and put the color in, put the extra angles in. Yes.
Can you show us how to add some of those trees so they don't look like mistakes?
So the trees are going to look like mistakes. I think we just have to kind of resolve ourselves or resign ourselves to that. Because really, let's go over here. We've got one coming up here. We've got one here and a couple little ones next to it and a big one here. So when you put it in, and this one's kind of in the middle here. Where am I? Here. So you want it to be fairly heavy for the trunk, and then just kind of, I don't know if you can see me standing in front of this here. Remember that the branches always go up, and they always meet in kind of a Y shaped. So they don't meet like this. They meet like this. Okay. These ones have quite a few limbs. My recommendation is get your picture finished with the colors and everything that you want on it. Then decide if you want to add the trees. Leave it for the very last thing that you do, and maybe even put those in with your pen. You know.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Good question.
I suggest, and I was just a comment, that you make sure your tree is not coming over somebody's head. Or, you know, it's the same thing with photography. Like when you're taking a picture, you don't want something coming over the person's head.
Yeah.
So whether it be a light or whether it be,
Yeah, and that's a really good point. I mean, just because it's in the reference or because it's wherever we are, we don't have to put it in. Which is why I'm saying wait till the very end. You know, get your rock star stuff down, and then add. Yeah, good. Thank you. Then an antenna on somebody's head.
not even an edit.
Sketch in pencil than when you start coloring it.
I've had that discussion with a few people today, and you're absolutely right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
sometimes
now I
you're
like
looking at it and it's like, I don't need to put anything else here. Now, one of the things I might suggest you try, if it looks good as a sketch, is to ink it in with your pen and make sure that it's going to stay there. Because sometimes the pencil gets all smudgy, and then the second or third time you look at it, it's really dull looking. But if you ink it in with a pen, it's there for you. But I mean,
Just an observation.
yeah, you don't have to do that though either.
I just thought, you know what?
Yeah.
It looks good just in
Well, I mean, you see some of my stuff.
is often.
Yeah. Yeah. To ink in your drawings after the watercolor has dried, that's a whole totally different look as well. So it might be something to try, just to see what that look looks like.
And it's just your sepia color or whatever.
Yep.
Did you do that with your coffee?
Um,
Like I just wondered because it's very loose.
don't be laughing. I draw with my coffee. Yeah.
Like
Well, and you know why?
Wine too. Did you spill
Be-
it there?
because you got the paintbrush in your hand and you don't put it in the water, put it in the coffee by mistake, and next thing you know, and you think, well, that looks pretty cool. I did a whole bunch of them when we went to Australia with coffee, but yeah, sometimes I do the whole thing one color and then go back and work over top of it. Sometimes I just, if it looks like it's going to be the right color, yeah, go for it. I mean, coffee is really, it stains really well, as most people know.
He does too. I saw a woman that painted